Now, the US Trade Representative, Ambassador Greer, on Friday welcomed President Donald Trump's announcement of a joint statement outlining a trade deal with India, saying it would remove tariff and non-tariff barriers and open India's vast market to American products. In a statement issued after the announcement, Greer said the agreement would significantly benefit U.S. workers, farmers and producers by lowering tariffs across all U.S. industrial goods and a broad range of agricultural products. He added President Trump's deal-making is unlocking one of the largest economies in the world for American workers and producers, lowering tariffs for all U.S. industrial goods and a wide array of agricultural products. He also thanked Indian Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal for his leadership and commitment to achieve fair and balanced trade with the U.S. All right, I do have Mr. Pradeep Kapoor. He's a former diplomat who's joining me. Mr. Kapoor, we, of course, you've just joined us on the discussion. We do have an outline of the agreement. I'd like your comments on that.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Kapoor. Am I audible to you?
Yes. Now you are audible. We were not able to hear you.
Yes, Mr. Kapoor. So I'll repeat my question. We've discussed, we just have an outline of this agreement. I'd like your comments on it.
So the panelists whom I have heard so far, they have outlined the position very, very brilliantly, very accurately also. And I appreciate their inputs and their comments. Overall, what I would like to say is that I have to take an overview and the perspective from Washington DC and from New Delhi. When there is negativity in any relation, since I have been in the trade of diplomacy for about 4 decades, the relationships overall suffer very badly. Now with the US, we have a lot of synergies and there are a lot of commonalities. There's a lot of overlap. The threat perceptions for the two countries are similar in terms of jihadi Islam or political Islam, in terms of the woke elements, in terms of China's threats, South China Seas, the borders with China and India, etc. So there are too many commonalities. Then we have a very prosperous Indian diaspora in the US, which is contributing very significantly. Then if I look at the administration to administration relations, we have the initiative for critical and emerging technologies. We have very in-depth interactions with the armed forces, with the Army, Navy, Air Force. There's a lot of areas in science, in space, in technology, amongst the institutions, and buying of Apache helicopters, etc. So the general G engines. And it's endless, the list. I remember the agreement which was signed, the joint communique, joint communique at the end of Prime Minister Modi's first visit also, ran into about 8 pages. Now, joint communiques, when we used to draft, it would be 2 pages. And it was very difficult to get a joint communique with 56 paras. But those are the sort of relations we had developed with the US. And the US understood that. The strategic community in the US understood that. The think tanks understood that. The academia understood that. All the geopolitical community understood that India is a main bulwark in the world, not in just India-Pacific, but in the world, for the US. Similarly, for India to have US on side in any international arena, in any international discussion, is a very important factor. Economies also, we are very intertwined in the sense, if I look at the unicorns being created in the world, the number 1 university is IIT Delhi, of which I am a graduate. The number 2 university is IIT Bombay. After that come the US universities. So the amount of work which can be done for the good of the people of both the countries, US and India, by having good relations between these two countries is phenomenal. And also, not only that, the future of the world, if these two countries are able to synergize and work together, this will become the critical partnership for the world also, for US, for India, and for the world. Now, what had happened was being raised to 50% and threat of 500% more and 100% more, it was becoming, it was impacting all our talks in all the areas. Now, if all the areas are impacted, everything was going slow or come to a standstill. Now, suddenly things are looking up again and things will start moving again. So, the holistic benefits, the granular detail has been touched upon very brilliantly by the two previous panelists. But holistically, when I look at it at a country to country level on a macro basis primarily, I see that today, if I have to make any decision in Delhi, it's a lot easier for my people to pick up the phone and start talking again to the US counterparts. Similarly, in the US, there used to be a delegation, two delegations, three delegations every
Interrupt
week.
you for a second and I'll come back to you. Now, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has lauded the trade deal between India and the US. He wrote this landmark framework represents a strategic milestone in India's economic journey. It will significantly expand export opportunities, strengthen labor intensive sectors, attract high quality investments, and create large scale employment. He also expressed his gratitude to PM Modi for his tireless efforts in unlocking the historic avenues for growth, employment, and long-term economic empowerment. I do have only 8 minutes left. I just want to inform my guests, and I want to now go across to all my guests for very, very short comments to conclude. Mr. Bharat Barai, we were earlier discussing what Dr. Arvind Singh Tejawat was saying. He wasn't really in favor of the deal. How would you respond to that?
And respectfully disagree with him. Look at the numbers. Number one, we have $40 billion surplus with USA. Number two, we have $28 to $29 billion remittance by Indian diaspora living in USA. So that gives us almost $69 billion advantage dealing with USA at this time. With Russia, political friendship is different. We should be politically friend to both the countries. But with Russia, we export $4.84 billion worth of goods, and we import worth $65 billion, mostly oil, fertilizers, and defense equipment. So where is the comparison? There are 5.5 million Indian diaspora living in USA. We have more than 300,000 students, which may decrease now, studying in USA. We have maximum number of tourists going to USA. So our relationship with United States is far, far deeper than our relationship with Russia, which is primarily diplomatic and to a degree energy. Now, as far as the energy is concerned, if it was so great, why were not importing so much of oil from Russia 4 years ago? We are importing only 2 to 3% of our requirements from Russia. We have good relations with them diplomatically for last 75 years. So why did we not import more oil from them? Because at time of Ukraine war, Russia gave us $15 to $20 discount. But are they giving us that discount now? No. The discount is down to $4 to $5 per barrel. So when you count the total benefit economically, if you deal with Russia, keep our imports at this time is $5 billion, and we would lose $68 billion. Now it's okay to come on television and make your personal opinion, which everybody has right to, but what about those thousands of workers who lose their job? People in the textile industry, people in the apparel industry, people in the leather industry, people in the seafood industry. What do we care about them? And if we care about our own people, their jobs, their ability to support their families, that is what we should be siding for.
All right. The debate got a little interesting, viewers, but we're very short on time, 5 minutes to go. But let me just address this and come back. Now, as part of the agreement, India intends to purchase $500 billion of US energy products, aircraft and aircraft parts, precious metals, technology products, and coking coal over the next 5 years. India and the US will significantly increase trade in technology products, including graphics, processing units, and other goods used in data centers, and expand joint technology cooperation. And now I want to take the question that Mr. Bharat Barai is raising to Ms. Purnima Nath, who's a Republican Party leader. Ms. Nath, please, over to you. Please go on. Ms. Nath, am I audible to you?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Quickly, I want to point out a few things. Dr. Barai have spoken about tourism from the Indian diaspora in United States. 2025 June data I have, it was 8% lower than June 2024. This was actually lowest in a dip after 2021. We understand that there's a dip in the US-India relationship at this point of time because of the punitive tariff and the insults that came from the Republican Party and the officials from Trump administration. India is engaging with the United States, but that's not to the fact that they understand the deal is based on strategic necessity, but they're also cautious enough. They understand that they cannot be completely going with the idea that US goodwill is part of it. If there's any India behaves out of line, India is going to be imposed another set of tariff, whether 25% or 100% or 500% really doesn't matter. Whenever he wakes up and based on his mood, he figures out what he wants to impose. Unfortunately, from a diplomatic standpoint, this has caused a real issue. It's not for just India, I would say. I was earlier saying this in South Korea. United States President Donald Trump has posed 25% extra tariff. I have to ask you this question. That particular country has 80 United States bases, and on top of it, now they have to be dealing with 25% extra tariff, which is even more than what India is dealing with. So I understand what India is doing. They're playing very smartly in terms of the trade, and this particular trade deal would have come regardless if President Trump actually was patient and respectfully dealt with the country with equal standing. But for President Trump, unfortunately, every other country is below his standard, and he can go and terrorize and bully other countries and their leaders, kidnap their leader if he doesn't like their politics, or if literally bomb other country if he doesn't like how they behave. So this kind of punitive strategy that President Trump has embraced, I would say, this is not he didn't create it. It was not something that he came up with it. Unfortunately, our history is this, American history is this, 1945 to year 2000, literally 55 years, US has conducted almost 80 regime changes, unfortunately, and this is something that nobody's talking about. Today, it's all good. We are seeing diplomatic postures from Dr. Jaishankar, and smiling, clapping, handshaking, and posting in social media. This is all optics. But at the end of the day, I'm sure India is very cautious to deal with United States or a country like United States, that if you have a bigger economy, if your army is stronger than mine, if you have veto power in international organizations, I can be literally punished for anything if I don't follow their directive. So this is not diplomacy. I don't call this as a diplomacy. This was a terror that we have seen over the last 1 year. Unfortunately, this is not something as a political leader I support. I would say as a country, you have to respect that country.
Ms. Nath, I wish I had more time, but we have to close the bulletin due to paucity of time. But I want to thank all my esteemed panelists for joining me on the broadcast. Thank you so much. And with that, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Stay with us.